we're in a cultural civil war. And until people on our side realize that you're in this war and you don't have a choice but to fight it. And, you know, I've talked to you about this with your kids. You got to get your kids involved at this stuff and get them knowledgeable. Because here's the reality, the way things are going. Your kids are either going to help create the world they live in, or they're going to have to be willing to accept the world that these people create for them.
Right.
That's the only choices you have. It's not going to be a live and let live situation any longer. It's always the what I call the godless left that's always making this argument, oh, why don't you people just live and let live? They're the worst people on the face of the planet for living and living, right?
Yes, they are.
They're the worst people in the world for that.
Right.
And the fact is that you've got all these godless leftists raising kids, and you've got good Christian people like you and your husband raising kids. Now, if your kids don't get involved, then they're going to live by the rules that these other kids create.
Right.
And that's just the reality. And that's where we are right now. That's the reason we're in the shape we are in, because over the last 40 or 50 years, the church has just stood back and said, oh, okay, well, that's out in the world. We'll live the way we want to live in our communities. Well, eventually, that community is going to get smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller, which it's done. And I would argue that we live in a post-Christian America already. It's not something in the future. We're living in it right now.
And you're talking about not something that is coming, but something that is.
It's something that's here right now.
Because right now, we're fighting for our rights
Yes.
to be Christians in America.
Yes,
Right.
we are.
Right.
Because the other side has so created an environment of disdain towards the Judeo-Christian frame that we now are silent because we'll get shouted down or disparaged because we stand up and say that we're Christians.
Right.
Yep.
That's happening now.
Everywhere.